Hello and welcome back. Mobile phones. How many of you use these? For how long do you spend on the phone? How close do you hold it to your head? Some interesting research that was sent to me by What Doctors Don't Tell You in October 2009. And they'd received some research from the World Health Organization. Now, some of this research had been paid for by the Interphone companies. Now, the communications industry, by the way, are far bigger than the pharmaceuticals. So just be aware of that. And just be aware that they partly paid for this research. 13 countries were researched. It was done over 10 years. And what it showed on the 12,800 people, that those that had been using one of these over 10 years had a significant increase of creating a brain tumour. Interesting. One of the brain tumours, and there's different forms, but one's called glioma, was actually increased by 39%. But if you caught what I said before, this was partly paid for by the mobile phone or the communications industry, so it could be certainly downplayed. What's also interesting is that France as a country has stopped their primary school children using phones while at school. England, we give out small warnings. I don't know if you've heard about this in the US. That I find very interesting. I don't know if you've seen the YouTube where you've got 3 mobile phones and there's one piece of corn in between. And then all these phones ring and you've got these kids all sitting around the side, and then all of a sudden this corn jumps out and converts into popcorn. Well, obviously these give out radiation. I do remember a girlfriend of mine whose uncle worked for the communications industry and he died of a brain tumour. And what was interesting was the actual scan of his head clearly showed where his phone went. So my heart certainly goes out to those people who think, well, if the phone's over here and I'm wearing this little chip thing here, it's okay. Is that true? I certainly wouldn't be doing that. So what can you do with this information? Well, certainly the first thing is to be aware of it. And when I use my phone, more often than not, I will use the hands-free and I will use a speakerphone. If I am using it privately, then I may hold it a distance from my head. And if I have to hold it close, then I will switch round, and I certainly don't spend a long time, I'm talking about minutes on there. If anything, I will call people back and use the landline. And when I sometimes use the landline, when a text message comes through, or if this rings, it then interrupts on the landline. So obviously there's some radiation or some signals being given out. Interesting. So it is my belief, and one of the reasons why I set up my own YouTube channel, is to provide you with some information. What you do with it is entirely up to you. However, if you want to make smarter choices, then you will be required to gain some knowledge. If you would like to gain some further knowledge, then log on to WDTTY, whatdoctorsdon'ttellyu.com, or Dr McCullers or Mike Adams at naturalnews.com, and again type in the information, and there you will be able to read your own research on it. But to me it makes sense. And also, as an addendum to that, on Dr McCullers' website shows that if you carry a mobile phone on your side, on your hip, that will also compromise your bones. That makes sense to me because of the radiation that's given out. So just be aware of that. What Doctors Don't Tell You have also stated that the mobile phone industry could be the 21st century smoking campaign. You remember when smoking was denied? Well, maybe you don't know, but back in the 50s and the 40s it was denied that smoking could lead to things like lung cancer and coronary heart disease and things like that. And that was pushed down for years by the tobacco industry. So the mobile phone industry could be the tobacco industry of the 21st century. But because they're so big and they're worth billions and billions as the communication industry, you can understand how they don't really want this information to get out, and to the level of which we are causing ourselves harm. Just because we can't see it, it doesn't mean it isn't harming us. Interesting. I'll leave it with you. And have yourself a fantastic, beautiful, gorgeous day. The sun is shining. My love to you all. Bye for now.